For any help regarding Python homework help, visit https://www.pythonhomeworkhelp.com/https://www.pythonhomeworkhelp.com. Email support@pythonhomeworkhelp.com, support@pythonhomeworkhelp.com, or call us at +1 678 648 4277. 1 OOP. The following definitions have been entered into the Python shell. Class F, x equals 0, y equals 10. Definite, self, y self.x equals y def a1, self, y self.x equals max, self.x, y return self.x def a2, self.x equals max, self.x, self.y, return self.x class G, f def b, self.y equals self.x asterisk self.x return self.y. Write the values of the following expressions, enter none when there is no value, write error when an error results, and explain briefly why it's an error. Assume these expressions are evaluated one after the other, in each column. pythonhomeworkhelp.com. Two signals given a signal x, we want to construct a signal y such that y n equals a asterisk x n1 plus 1a asterisk x n2. 40a1. Part A. Define a signal subclass that represents this signal. Given an instance of the signal class representing x and the value of a, construct the new signal, given a signal instance x, and a variable a, as follows. pythonhomeworkhelp.com. Part B. Given a signal instance x, and a variable a, write an expression involving sig polyr that constructs an equivalent signal. To construct a polynomial, use polynomial. Sig polyr, x, polynomial, 1a, a0. Y equals mysig, x, a. Do not use any of the existing signal subclasses, such as Rn or polyr. Class mysig, sig signal definite, self, x, a self.x equals x self.a equals a def sample, self, n return self.a asterisk self.x.sample, n1, plus, 1 self.a, asterisk self.x.sample, n2. Part C. Write a Python procedure settle time that is given. S. An instance of the signal class M, an integer representing the max index to look at, bounds, a tuple of two values, low, high. It returns an integer or none. The integer corresponds to the smallest sample index, W, such that the sample at index W and all the samples from W up to M are between low and high, less than or equal to high and greater or equal to low. It returns none if no such sample exists. pythonhomeworkhelp.com. Def settle time, SM, bounds, low high, equals bounds def inbounds, x return x equals low and x equals high, W equals 0 for I in range, M if not inbounds, s dot sample, I, W equals I plus 1 if W equals M, return none else, return W. 3 state machines. Write a state machine whose inputs are the characters of a string of words separated by spaces. For each input character, the machine should output the string x if the character is within a word, or if the input character is a space, then output the most recent word if the most recent word is a number, all numerical digits, or output none if the most recent input word is empty or contains any non-digits. Assume there is never more than one consecutive space. For example, pythonhomeworkhelp.com. x equals v1 1v find numbers, dot transduce, x, none, x, none, x, 11, x, none. Do not add any instance attributes to the state machines. If foo is a single character or multi-character string, the Python method foo.isdigit returns true if there is at least one character in foo and all of the characters in foo are all digits. Class find numbers, small. SM start state equals def get next values, self, state, inp if inp equals, if state.isdigit, return, state, else, return, none, else, return, state plus inp if x. pythonhomeworkhelp.com. For difference equations, 10 points, Newton's law of cooling states that the change in an object's temperature from one time step to the next is proportional to the difference, on the earlier step, between the temperature of the object and the temperature of the environment, as well as to the length of the time step. Let O, n, be temperature of object S, n, be temperature of environment T, be the duration of a time step K, be the constant of proportionality part A. Write a difference equation for Newton's law of cooling. Be sure the signs are such that the temperature of the object will eventually equilibrate with that of the environment. O, n equals O, n minus 1, plus Tk, S, n minus 1, minus O, n minus 1. Part B, write the system function corresponding to this equation. Show your work. pythonhomeworkhelp.com. 5 signals and systems. Consider the following system. Part A, write the system function. Part B. Let K1 equals 1 and K2 equals minus 2. Assume that the system starts at rest, all signals are 0, and that th input signal x is the unit sample signal. Determine y, 0, through y, 3. pythonhomeworkhelp.com. Part C. Let K1 equals 1 and K2 equals minus 2. Determine the poles of H. Enter poles or none if there are poles. 2, minus 2 no. Part D. For each of the systems below, indicate whether the system is equivalent to this one. Remember that there can be multiple equivalent representations for a system. If you write clearly the system function for these systems, we may be able to give you partial credit. Equivalent to H, yes/no? No. pythonhomeworkhelp.com. Equivalent to H, yes/no? Yes. Equivalent to H, yes/no? Yes. pythonhomeworkhelp.com. Equivalent to H, yes/no? Number 6 System Behaviors Part A. Find the poles for the following system functions. 0. Poles, 5 plus or minus 0.5 j. Poles, 0.5, minus 0.1. Consider the following poles. H1 dot poles equals dash 1.0 minus 0.5. H2 dot poles equals 0.375 plus 0.330 j, 0.375 dash 0.330 j. H3 dot poles equals 0.05 plus 0.234 j, 0.05 dash 0.234 j. H4 dot poles equals 1.2 minus 0.5. pythonhomeworkhelp.com. Circle all correct answers as H1, H2, H3, H4 none. Part B, deleted. Part C. Which, if any, of the poles lead to the following unit sample response? Part D. Which, if any, of the poles lead to the following unit sample response? Circle